So, Siege is a Canadian film that was released in 1983 and very recently by Severin. This was directed by Paul Donovan and Maura O'Connell, and if I'm not mistaken, it was written by Paul Donovan as well, certainly produced by him. This is one hell of an extremely controversial film, just by reading the synopsis itself. And it's one of the ones I picked up along with Midnight and Skinned Deep, and it piqued my interest. One being it's a Canadian film, and I'm Canadian. Um, the plot is just so controversial, though, and for good reason too. It was controversial when it came out, and it's one of those things that everybody talks about. So what we have going on here is this gang of thugs. Basically, they call themselves the New Order or something like that. This takes place in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and in Halifax in 1981. Don't quote me if this is a true story or not because I didn't look into it, so I don't know if this is fiction or based on something that actually happened, although the shit does happen anyway. This group of thugs, led by this guy named Goose, the police of Halifax are on strike, and while the police are on strike, this gang kind of wants to bring justice to whatever, like, just be horrible people pretty much. And they go into this gay bar and they want to threaten and scare the patrons of this bar. And there's a lot of FAGs thrown around, and they're interrogating these people in the bar. The bartender and the owner of the bar, I'm pretty sure, has a gun on him, and he ends up getting a hold of that gun, but it turns into chaos. This gang of thugs has a leader named Cabe, and Cabe is like the head boss and everything. Things go bad inside the bar, and a lot of people are executed, except for one of the patrons. This homosexual young man gets to escape, and he runs off into these apartment buildings, and he takes refuge and hides out there while these thugs are pretty much after him and want to, because Cabe has directed these people to kill anybody who's witnessed the situation, so nobody squeals or talks or anything. So what happens after that is basically a siege film where this gang is trying to bring this guy out who's being protected by these random people who own this apartment building. There's this character named Horatio and his girlfriend Barbara. They own the apartment, and then they have this other friend named Chester. Chester is a very gun-friendly kind of guy, so he knows how to put guns and bombs together and stuff like that. And they're keeping this young man safe in their apartment. His name is Daniel, and Daniel is obviously scared out of his wits. And luckily found people that are willing to help him because he could have ran into anybody else and it was like take care of yourself, or even worse, just find people that just hand him off to the thugs, because the thugs actually come to the door at one point and are negotiating with these people, but these people actually absolutely refuse to give this guy over because they know what's going to happen to him and he's innocent and he didn't do anything wrong. Now it's a violent film. Outside of the subject matter, it's also very violent. There's a lot of people who are shot, tortured, kind of tortured, I would say. The bad guys do get their justice. So a lot of people, they make the reference to Home Alone, and this is just because the owners of this flat or apartment set booby traps to attack these killers or these thugs back when they try to break in. One of them actually is funny because it involves electrocuting or putting an electric current on a doorknob, which makes sense why people would reference Home Alone, because in Home Alone it was turning the doorknob hot or whatnot. But in this one, they electrocute the thing, and then one of the bad guys, Goose, I'm pretty sure, grabs the fucking doorknob and electrocutes himself. And then there's other really creative ways that they start to create these like dynamite sticks and bombs out of just household materials and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. That's the basic plot. I don't want to get too much into spoilers or what they create or what goes on, who lives, who dies kind of thing. But it's low budget, it's very independent, it's dark, but it's got a lot of atmosphere. I'm not from Halifax or Nova Scotia, so I can't like recognize anything, but I know a lot of people love this movie for its location, and people who live in the area say it's very detailed, and they, like it feels like Nova Scotia kind of thing. Not that I would know. And the thing with the subject matter too, I have heard a few years ago, like there was a situation actually in Florida. I don't know all the details, but there was a situation where there was a gay bar and it was shot up, which is extremely disturbing. So this might be very, very touchy subject matter for a lot of people, and it's completely understandable. So go into the film knowing what it is and knowing what the subject matter is very important to to know before watching it. But if you can handle it, other than that, it's a pretty well directed movie for its budget, and it takes itself seriously. It's not goofy at all, and it's dark and it's violent. It's very violent, but it's well made and it's enjoyable if you like this kind of stuff. If you like Severin especially, they did a good transfer with it. They did a great job with the slipcover. You got your original artwork here. And you get actually two original artworks because there's one in the back. I don't really feel like opening it right now or taking the paper out. But yeah, it's a cool release. And it's a cool little triple feature that I got with Midnight and Skinned Alive included. Let me just get this back in here somehow. But yeah, Siege would be a thumbs up from me. I really liked it. Go check it out. You heard everything I said on it, so if that's up your alley, and if you like, action siege films, and if you like low budget films too, and independent cinema, it's really well done. And Canucksploitation, as they call it. I don't see much Canucksploitation in it, other than Goose being an absolute piece of shit. There's even a scene at the beginning that I also won't spoil, but he's just a downright awful human, and deserves a lot of things that he gets in the film. And Cabe is one heck of a villain too. He's also evil, but in the big boss sense of evil, where he's just has no compassion for human life or anybody. And yeah, it's detailed in the film. But yeah, that's all I got on Siege, so go check it out. It's available now from Severin, and that's my thoughts. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more. There's lots on the channel. Stay tuned for December. There's lots coming out then. And until next one, take care and cheers.